FATENZO.com, 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 FATENZO.com.
Oh, please give me one of those too, you scum. Huh? Ready? Are you ready? Put me on. Morning, poopies. Morning to all.
And happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. We Thursday of the 11th week in ordinary time. Because we're going about our spiritual quest. Continuing that, I go to mass every single day.
Still.
And I report back on what we learned in mass. And so we have Tara Szczepanski.
Yeah.
Szczepanski, I believe.
Hey, guys. Yes.
Is that correct?
Szczepanski. Yeah. It's Szczepanski. So lovingly called Poam for my Polish Americans out there.
That's right. And we're going to be talking about her organization, Polish American Brotherhood. And we're going to be getting into some of her video journalism.
Yep.
And we're going to be talking about some bad news. We're going to be talking about a violent hate group that storms California Library.
Oh boy.
Ooh. We're gonna talk about an ad with the Canadian Prime Minister guy. He's the guy who's going trying to run against Trudeau.
Yeah.
What'd you call him?
Trudeau.
Trudeau.
That's how I hear you're supposed to pronounce his last name too. So
it's just fun to pronounce it in off ways just to annoy people.
Oh, that's like the part do thing. That's like that stupid movie.
Yeah.
Like the movie. All right, so we're gonna be doing that, and then also we're gonna be doing some good news, like always, right?
Always, every day we have to do good news.
We do the bad news and we do the good news.
Yeah,
bad news could be anything, by the way. It doesn't matter. It's just worldly news. It doesn't matter if it's bad news or good news, right?
Yeah,
it's all bad news, and the good news is straight from the book.
Yeah.
Book, dude. It's the book. And so, Tara, thank you so much for being on. We're going to start getting into your background and everything, but we need to do this one thing first. And maybe I could...
Well, actually, a few things.
Actually, well, what? We're going to... What?
To all the listeners and followers and viewers, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends so we can...
grow...
and unite the Christians.
Oh, so we can unite the Christians with truth instead of dividing us with lies.
Yes. And we are also on Spotify and Rumble and soon all social media platforms.
Yeah, hopefully. After the elections. And then there's a red wave.
Yep.
Right?
We'll be back.
It's coming.
Tara, I just sent you something. If you want to follow along, you may.
Got it.
We're going to do this thing. It's called the Content Creators Credo.
Lovely.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Here we go. I believe that the freedom of speech is a universal international right, that all opinions shall be tolerated regardless if agreeable or disagreeable. I believe in the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, freedom of expression, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, the right of the people to peaceably assemble, be it physically or virtually. I believe in the separation of church and state and corporation. I believe that truth is non-binary and can be objective, subjective, normative, or complex. There are no eternal facts as there are no absolute truths. For us creators and for our content, great thinkers have philosophized, and our founding fathers debated the dangers of cancellation and censorship for centuries. And no individual shall be indemnified of criticism or mockery, for there is honesty in jest. I pledge that the ideas I share are my own and are not the expressed opinions of any violent criminal organizations. The only group I represent is the human race, and I reserve the right to interview any of my counterparts without fear, threats, or intimidation, with their opinions being their own, with my opinion being my own, for association does not always equal shared beliefs. I pledge to perform in a professional, dignified manner and to not bully, harass, or slander my fellow human creatures, to refrain from hate, anger, sedition, vulgarity, harassment, pornography, cautioning that sarcasm can at times be misinterpreted as such. I believe in the counter-speech doctrine, that the remedy to negative, harmful speech is more positive, helpful speech, not enforced silence. That no person shall be denied access to social media, which is the marketplace of ideas, and today's town square. That Section 230 privatizes communism and legalizes slander, and that content creators who have broken community guidelines in the past deserve retribution, because we are all constituents of the human party, and humans are fallible. Amen.
I like that.
Hell yeah.
I like that.
It's good, right?
Yeah.
Don't you feel better?
It does. It completely captures like the, what you feel as a content creator, especially when it comes to freedom of speech and the challenges that we face with censorship and trying to be able to put our ideas out there. And it's true, like in an actual like civil society that we should be striving for, it's putting all ideas out there and allowing the best to rise to the top. It's not achieved through silencing your opponent. That's not an actual win.
No, because it's not even like natural for the people that are in the crevices of society, the dark shadows of society. They're basically like the roaches or the rats of society, and they find themselves, they're basement dwellers. They find themselves working in cubicles at a lot of these social media places. And then in what area, in what kind of work environment or what kind of corporation allows their workers to basically mess with like the content or whatever, or the services that they provide or whatever. It's like messing with the product that they create, that they make. You know what I'm saying? It's insane that it happens.
They're manipulating a narrative. That's it.
Yeah. Well, they choose who wins or loses in life. Yeah. They decide. In the shadows. The people that are out there, though, in the sun, those people are the targets.
Yeah. Anybody who has no fear to them, or they view their viewpoints are a certain way, you're getting erased.
Yep.
Absolutely. You saw what just happened to Savannah Hernandez like yesterday. Like the Post Millennial even published an article about how Twitter has continuously targeted her. And then so I know Robert too, you've experienced the same, and it's just you see the material that she puts out there. It's even from covering over at the Gay Pride Week over in DC, the expressions were the own of liberals and those who were in attendance, and there was nothing wrong, and they canceled her for it.
Yeah, they did. We played her video that she made in response to that yesterday on the show. And yeah, this is what's going on. And I know that you have a video of her on your Instagram page, I believe, right? And
I ran into her over in front of the Supreme Court. So after at the Supreme Court, they were having a shut down DC event for, it was a pro-abortion anti-Roe versus Wade, the overturn of Roe versus Wade, which was interesting because I feel it turned into more of a pro-life protest because of the amount of people that were there. I feel we're more on the pro-life side.
Yeah. So Tara, let's back up and let's introduce you and let everybody know who you are. You have a YouTube channel. I know you make videos. Which title most closely explains what you do? Director, streamer, filmmaker, video journalist?
Jack of all trades.
You do live streaming a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, so you live stream live events.
Exactly. So my main thing is live streaming events because I like to present like just the raw footage of what I'm seeing. It's largely almost it's my journey as I've been exploring the issues in America and attending various protests and rallies and learning myself and just being able to then share that through my platform with an audience. So I mainly do live streaming, but I have now gone into doing more deeper dives with a start of a docuseries. So my channel is On the Ground. And with that, it has to do with being with being literally on the ground and talking to people of various viewpoints. And, similar to what was stated in the creed, it's not necessarily that others share my own, but I'm with everything that's been going on in America. I've been at presenting content on YouTube now for 2 years. I really want to look for solutions, and I'm done with the divisiveness that's going on. And when people say like, "Oh, you can't talk to the other side because like they're trying to kill you," like there are people who are trying to kill you, but that's not the vast majority of people. And there's too much of a shutdown of conversation. And the position now I want to take is to be that bridge. So I often ask, I'm often asking people now, like, what would you say to a conservative who believes this, so they can explain their side. So I'm just trying to be more of a bridge when it comes to that. So, but with my new docuseries, I was recently at the border when I was on a trip to Texas and experienced. Also, I was there covering Uvalde by being at. Landing in San Antonio the day of the horrific shooting. And I launched my first docuseries with border content. So I have several more coming through, but those are long edits. I'm definitely growing and experiencing as a content creator. So again, like hopefully they won't be censoring just the real life that's coming through.
Yeah, you cover live events in all kinds of major cities. I've seen your stuff in Portland, New York City, DC, Minneapolis. There's a bunch. Oh,
LA.
you sent me some videos, right? Damn.
Yep.
Parker.
Oh, you hate me, as I told you.
You did tell me. You sent it on the thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been all over the place. I mean, prior to doing content creation on YouTube, I've always been a world traveler. I've gone to almost 60 countries now, and so in terms of like lifestyle, I've always lived out of a suitcase. I am in my home studio now. It's good to be home, but I'm already like geared up and ready for the next trip. It's either going to be back to DC. I landed last night and got back home after like 2 a.m. But I do want to cover when Roe versus Wade is inevitably overturned by the Supreme Court, and so that's within days. I was hoping an announcement would be made while I was in DC these past couple of days, but it wasn't. And it's interesting how the House has just passed a bill to protect the homes of the Supreme Court justices because protesters have been at their houses, and it's actually I'm pretty sure that's against the law, and it's illegal action. That's not covered under the right to protest when it comes to going to a Supreme Court justice's house, because that deals with intimidation to our court systems, and that's to be the most holy, sacred of the land. So they actually passed a bill to be protecting the houses of the justices. And so I'm looking for when Biden also signs that. Ironically, well, not ironically, but there were also some Democrats who stood against that bill. I'm like how is this even partisan issue? It's to protect the justices. It's to protect our legal system.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was AOC who would spoke out against it. Like she was against protecting the houses.
Well, I mean, I haven't told you my my what is it called? Like philosophical
Mm-hmm.
like interpretation of society right now. It's
Oh,
basically
boy, here we go.
no, and the government is called like it's basically a collective dictatorship or inverted dictatorship. I use both terms, and you're supposed to have 3 separate branches of power, and this one they're all bought and paid for. They're all owned by everybody, by all the oligarchs and the corporations and stuff like that, and so they all work in unison like a swarm of bees, and they took down the executive. They took down the strong executive when he was trying to combat their
shenanigans.
Basically giving them pushback like they need. They're supposed to have, it's supposed to be checks and balances. But now what they've done is they're growing the dictatorship, the collective or inverted dictatorship is growing so many like roots. The roots are growing so strong
and so deep now.
And so deep that like it's really hard to take them down. And now they're going and they're messing with the judiciary system, the judiciary branch too.
Yep.
The judicial branch too. On top of the executive branch, they did for 4 years. And so, and now what are they doing? Now they're harassing the people. And because we the people.
Yeah.
That's really what the government is founded on, right?
Yeah.
And so now these scum are going after us, just like they really are a dictatorship working in unison. I think that's my perception of what's going on.
Robert, I gotta agree with you also there, especially, I do feel the founding fathers were very brilliant to have the forethought on how they set up the checks and balances system, especially when it comes to the judiciary branch, because the law of the land is not supposed to be subjected to mob justice. Mob justice is swift. We see how quickly people cancel each other and call on
oh
people
my
to
God.
attack.
If we left it up to the mob, look at all these stupidians. Yeah. If you imagine that, all the people that are in the crevices of society were allowed to get together and hang somebody, they would do it in a second because they hate their own lives. Yeah.
Absolutely. The purpose of being able to change our judiciary system and the laws of the land very slowly is to keep it immune from mob justice. Mob justice has proven through and through to be wrong and to further create more injustice because it reacts solely on the emotions. And also with a mob, you just see other people going this way and you follow along. For the large majority of people who are sheep and not independent thinkers, they will just follow along with the mob under various pressures that they'll have for it's part of human nature as well. That's why you have to encourage having strength of spirit, so that way you're able to combat when those situations hit. But so that's why you're not supposed to be able to it's not a protest. It is sheer out intimidation when you go to these justices' houses to be forcing them to then create whatever law, because it does take a long time for any law that's put out there to change, but that's intentional and that's on purpose, and that's to keep it away from the injustices of mob justice.
Interesting. And you're down there covering all this stuff, and you have your YouTube channel right here. It's On the Ground, right? Boom, On the Ground. POA. Let me ask you about POA, Polish American Brotherhood. Why not the sisterhood?
Yeah. Well, the backup channel is going to be the Filipino American sisterhood.
Okay.
But
what is that about?
Their origins. Just kidding, just kidding. So the origins of the Polish American Brotherhood is a project actually that my father and I had started as a history channel, and that was about the relationship between Poland and America really being brothers at arms, as it dates back to the Revolutionary War with Tadeusz Kosciuszko, who was a general who fought alongside General George Washington. And so Kosciuszko was a pivotal part of American history, which I don't feel gets the credit that he is most definitely due. Even when I saw Hamilton, I'm like, all right, we've got several other characters from France and whatnot, Lafayette. I'm like, where's Kosciuszko? We need some Polish representation. And so that's why I launched the Polish American Brotherhood as a means of presenting Polish American history to the audience. And so that's why my earliest videos are like top 10 facts about Japan, what to do when you travel to Poland. It was to be promoting Polish American camaraderie and the history of our nations. And how that then pivoted was because I started attending protests and rallies, and this is the platform that I had at the time and I was building. And so I just started streaming off of my phone what I was seeing, because I'm like, what we see on mainstream media is not the truth, and you really need to look to independent people to be getting the truth, because truth is not given, it is found. And so that's the origination of the name, and that everyone calls me Poem now. So as I've now rebranded my channel to being on the ground to really capture more of what I actually do, as opposed to the history bit. I have parked Polish American Brotherhood on another channel, which I will be doing the Polish American history on that. But Polish American history, you can see it in my name, Poem, and that's where it comes from.
I love it. And who is Pulaski?
Pulaski is also another general. So you'll see actually two statues you will find in a lot of cities, or bridges that you will find in a lot of cities, is Kosciuszko and Pulaski. So he's another war general.
Yeah, no, I've always heard those two. I've always seen those two. Pulaski is in
Pulaski
New Jersey.
Street.
New Jersey Bridge, Pulaski, going to New York City. And then
they have a Pulaski Day in Chicago.
Oh, of course. Yes, a lot of Polish went to Chicago.
Yeah.
Yes.
Polish and Italians.
Mhm.
Yep. Not Polacks.
It's funny.
Wopskis.
Endearingly called Polacks. So actually, one time when I was in Chicago, I was doing a beauty competition when I was a teenager there, and then when I got my scores back, I was like, oh, I got perfect scores from a couple of the judges, and my mom looks at the sheet and she sees last names and she's like, they're all Polish.
Oh my God.
So I was like the Polish judges gave me tens across the board.
Wow. So you're doing this Polish. How'd you get what's your background in the video stuff? Like did you go to school for that? Like the directing and everything like that, or kind of learn as you go?
I'm mainly learning as I go, but I did study political science for an undergrad, political science and psychology for undergrad, and then I studied communication, which was journalism and public relations when I was a grad student as well. And it's not what I ended up going into professionally. When I was living in New York for a couple of years, and I ended up doing management consulting, but like doing a corporate job of being at a desk and working for other people, after it wasn't my main calling in life. And so after a couple of years of doing that, though I was thankful for the employment to the firm and the life it afforded me, I did quit and basically have to re-kick my life from that career. And so I took some time and I went backpacking around the world for almost 2 years to AKA go find myself. But it was in that experience of being abroad for, I think I was gone for almost a year straight without coming back to the US. But I was gone for almost 2 years, and in 2019 I went to 25 countries, and it was COVID that made me come back. I came back the day before it was announced as a worldwide pandemic. And in that time when I was just watching the news, because I was very, very disconnected to any type of politics that was going on in the U.S. So I had no idea of any of it really when I came back. So when I saw all of the riots that were going on, you know, in my opinion, what I saw was nothing short of domestic terrorism, and I started posting my opinions about that. I just received such vitriol and huge lashback from people who I thought were friends who knew me from college, that I was shocked and surprised that like this was the rather than engaging in useful conversation and trying to express views. I had a couple friends that called me and asked me to explain. They're like, oh, I get where you're coming from. But the large majority of the online life definitely condemned me for the opinions that I had. And rather than becoming silent over it, I just became more vocal.
Yeah, but so you definitely understand the bubble of media from all your world travel. Because I know that too. I know that too from going to Europe and stuff like that, and always seeing the difference. I told you that before. Mm-hmm. So you get back, you said you were a Trump hater. Is there something about you being a Trump hater at one point?
Yeah, I was. So my father was the only one who was supportive of Trump prior to, I guess, me jumping on with that. And really all it took was a little bit of research for me to realize that he was the candidate that I was going to be supporting for 2020. I voted for Hillary in 2016. I was totally one of those crying liberals in New York, being like, how did this happen? I didn't see how Hillary could have possibly have lost, especially after the things that Trump has said. And you know, I based a lot of my opinions based on the things I was hearing about him, the clips that I'd be seeing on CNN, because when you're so busy, my job back then was pretty demanding. So when you're so busy, you don't have time to do your own research. So even with articles themselves, you only look at the headline, and you only look at the headline that's really just sometimes flashing on Twitter or other social media. But even in that, when I started actually reading these articles that were posted by mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC, I'm like, you could see how they contradict each other within that. So I just started watching the full press conferences, actually, and that's what got me into it. So I started watching the full press conferences that were coming straight from the White House and seeing what they were about. And then I saw the headlines that would come out after a press conference. And I'm like, that had nothing to do with anything that was said. I remember one quite vividly was a press conference announcing the Abraham Accords. And the headlines that followed after that had nothing to do about really what was a step in world peace in the Middle East. That wasn't even part of the articles that were all published about this press conference. And that's, these are all different things that contributed to me going further down the rabbit hole and wanting to do my own research.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you're doing that you were watching live streams basically, and then you started doing it, right? I mean, so we should.
I wasn't too much into watching other people's live streams or content.
Well, what I'm saying is watching a full media coverage of from the White House, the press conference is kind of the same thing. It's like it's not edited. You're just watching it live, right?
It's just about the same. I get.
Yeah,
I mean
that's and you're emulating that kind of too, because you're just showing the uncut version, right?
Yep.
So,
exactly.
Okay.
And then even when I was following like several of the hearings, and I would go and hearings that they take 14 hours, but now that I invest the time into actually doing the research and putting the information out there. I understand why the masses of people don't, but I do feel like we need to be able to try and red pill more people, because like it wasn't that hard for me. With a little bit of introduction of common sense into my life, I saw things quite clearly.
That is interesting for you to say, because that right there is why they don't allow us on. I mean, look at the hypocrisy. What we were watching, that TikTok video, remember?
Yeah.
Have you seen the TikTok video where they just completely, I think I have it. Should I play it again? When was that? What day was that? Oh, here it is. That was yesterday, right? This
yeah,
one.
yeah,
This
yesterday.
one. Have you seen this one?
Let me see.
It is hilarious.
Same right men have always had. We just want equal rights. The right to govern our own bodies, just like men have always had. It's that simple.
Do you support the right for people to not get the COVID vaccine?
It's irrelevant.
It's the same topic, right? My body, my choice.
You're right. It's not irrelevant.
Yeah, but one saves lives.
You're right. It's
One's
not
a
irrelevant.
choice.
One of them is going to be in a pandemic state, right? A state of emergency, which we all know laws change during a state of emergency.
Do you agree with the statement or the principle of my body, my choice?
Yes, absolutely. Bodily autonomy is a human right. Healthcare is a human right. Access to healthcare should not be something that is dictated by the Supreme Court.
During the pandemic, did you support people's right to not get the COVID vaccine?
It's a difficult conversation.
Do you support bodily autonomy in other situations? For example, the COVID vaccine mandates.
The vaccine mandates, we've been mandated to get vaccines for years and years and years.
So you do support in that situation people not having control of their bodies?
That's not having not control of your bodies. Like, I don't understand.
Do you think it is important for people to have medical and health control over their own body?
Yeah, it's good for them. It's good for everybody.
You didn't support the mandates?
I do support the mandates, yeah.
Isn't that mandate that people have to get the vaccine so they don't have control over their own body?
Vaccinations are good for people.
But in that case, you don't have control, right? If there's a mandate?
No, they don't have to get it. They just
can't go anywhere or do anything, right?
They just can't have a job. You don't have a right to a job.
Everybody should have a right to do what they want with their bodies.
Do you support the people's right to choose not to get the COVID vaccine?
I'm not doing that.
I mean, yeah, put me on.
Sorry.
I mean, that right there exemplifies everything, because if people are allowed to see common sense, they easily get red pilled, as you were saying.
Mm-hmm. And it just shows, like, if in terms of like an indoctrination or just following with the crowd, because the disalignment of beliefs, because if you truly believed in bodily autonomy, you would be consistent between not supporting mandates and also with abortion rights. It was interesting also when the guy said, like, you don't have a right to a job. I'm like, you have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, inclusive, and that is a job.
Yes, it is.
It affords life.
Yes, it is. That's insane. You know, and look at the state of that guy. Like, you think he's a happy person? You know? No, he's
not
not.
for 1 second.
None of those people were happy people, you know?
I like the one did say, I just don't understand. Like, right
That's
before
I love
that
it when
guy.
they get frustrated and they go, oh my.
Like, it's not the same. Like,
It's not the same just because you say it?
yeah, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's different. I don't understand how it's different, but it's different.
But that's why I bring that up, because it's just like, if they truly allow people to just be like on the internet free, like YouTube, for instance, like if they allow like the cream to rise to the top,
Yeah.
you would see the culture change so fast for what it really is, what it truly is, what it's supposed to be.
Oh, yeah.
And what's happening right now is we cover this a lot, is it's just being artificially changed, because it's like the pendulum is supposed to swing both ways, and in order for us to stay in the middle, every 2 years we have an election, and they usher in people on the right, people on the left, moderates, and we always stay in the middle because of that. And when you do this with free speech and you allow a corporation, then what they're doing, they're just shifting it. They're shifting the blame, like Pontius Pilate.
Yeah.
You know, they're shifting the blame
100%.
over to Twitter. Oh, it's a company. It's a private company. It's just a private company. What do you mean? Are you serious? Like monopolies? We used to always crush monopolies. That's what we did always in this country, you know? And it was because a corporation is an unelected government. And if it rises too big, it can actually go against our government.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why they say, you know, separation of church and state. That's another reason, another aspect of that. That's why in the creed we put that, and corporation.
And corporation.
You know,
Mhm.
because Twitter allowing
corporation.
Yeah. Do you have anything bad like on Twitter where you have like your haters, the little scum who like put posts of you and say like, you know, crazy stuff and
crazy false stuff.
Do you ever have that?
Yeah, I definitely did when I took on certain topics in the past. I don't feel like the BLM movement right now is too relevant, and so, but certainly when I've followed the BLM movement as well as Antifa activity, they tend to be the ones to post that type of not information, but like that to make fun of me, which, you know what, I don't care.
Yeah, you've done a lot of Antifa. You know what? I'm going to put this on. Let's play some of your videos. We got this one for the BLM anti-fascist members attack you. Let's play that right now. Here we go.
You are not leaving. Why are you not leaving? Don't protect a Nazi. Then get out. Put your hands on me again. I fucking dare you. What you gonna do? Put your hands on me again. Put your hands on me again, bitch. I'll get you. P.O. Forsyth, 1014.
Because I can't even leave. Everybody's following me. So I'm just like, I'm trying to stand in the police line and everything. But I can't walk away. They're all chasing after me.
He put his hands on me. Fucking P.O. Forsyth.
Somebody grabbed my bag and tried to pull me. They tried to knock the phone out of my hand and everything. And they've been following me. I can't leave. So I'm standing next to police because because I've already been assaulted today. I don't want anybody else to try and hit me and hurt me. So I'm standing in line with the police.
Why are you protecting a Nazi? Why are you protecting an actual Nazi? He is protecting a Nazi. P.O. Gold. She's part of the Polish American Brotherhood. P.O. Gold.
Yeah, I've been silly stringed. I've been punched. So I ran behind the cops because like everybody's coming after me. I can't walk away because they followed me.
What are you doing, stupid? What the fuck are you doing, stupid? You stupid child support bitch, huh? They're not protecting you anymore, bitch, huh? I like the hair, cabrona. I like it. I like it better, bitch. She is acting like she's a victim in a situation where she does not need to be. She is a terrorist and
Okay, so they're saying I'm not the victim. I've been spat on, I've been punched, I've been egged, I've been silly stringed, I've been threatened. All right, I'm on 25th and Broadway.
They're right here! They are right here! Why are you still here? Why are you still here? Fuck you! Whose grandparents died in the fucking Holocaust? So this is a Nazi. She's a Nazi.
She's trying to put a dirty diaper like in my...
You know who? She's a Nazi. I don't give a shit. She's a Nazi. She's a Nazi. Then don't protect a Nazi. You are no good. And she's a Nazi. She's a Nazi. Sidewalk, make me do something, bitch.
Bitch, can she leave? Why is she still
She's
here
a Nazi.
though?
I didn't know where you got him down. No, that's that bitch. I'm gonna go over there. Go home. Go home, bitch. That's it. Trust about terrorist, bitch. No. Oh, yeah?
Oh, it's that black boy.
I know. They're gonna follow us. We need to get out of here, though. I definitely want to leave, though. Watch. All right, guys. Trying to leave right now.
What does it even mean?
I hope they don't follow me because they will probably are.
They're so fucking.
I love how we
Don't leave now.
See?
Make up a lie and keep it coming. Make up a lie and keep it.
Don't leave now. Don't leave now. Where you going?
Trying to walk away. Well, that's right, y'all. Polish American Brotherhood. Oh God, are they still fucking following us?
Where y'all leaving?
Trying to walk away.
Weren't they saying to go home?
Oh my God, I look like quite the fright, guys. Anthony, can you do a
They don't care.
here? Anthony,
They're psychotic people.
I'm gonna show them what I'm. Hold up. Put on me. All right, guys. Oh, switch around.
All right.
All right, guys. So this is me. Oh, the days of being Miss New York to being silly stringed and egged in my head. Well, that's my first experience going to a whatever the fuck that was. I mean, you can see that I'm visibly shaken right now.
Tara, hey, calm down, buddy. That's what is it? Make up a lie and keep repeating it, right?
Yeah.
She's a Nazi. She's a Nazi.
I'm telling you, she's a Nazi.
I'm telling you, she's a Nazi.
Well, who the hell are
Yeah.
you?
Leave. Where are you going? Where are you going?
That started from basically I refused to turn off my camera, and because it's a public space. I'm a journalist, and I wasn't going to turn off my camera, and so with that's when the group first surrounded me inside of Madison Square Park. They started
I know where that is.
spitting on me with the umbrellas, and I knew once they found out what media I was going to additionally face some harder times in that situation. So that they first assaulted me inside the park. I got out of the park, and then when I was across the street, they identified my channel and found out that I was a Trump supporter. So it was like a mob of 30 that came from the park chasing after me, saying she's a Trump supporter. Like, literally, I just think of Gina Carano had actually posted maybe within a couple of days of that a scene of when a photograph of a woman running away from a mob of people, and she said that this is how the Holocaust had begun. It's when you have neighbor turning against neighbor, and the accusations are being made, and nobody is there to be protecting you. At the tail end of it, somebody came up to me and said, "I'm on your side. I'm going to walk you out." So I got very lucky in that regard, and it was so hectic. I didn't realize this guy had also jumped in front of me when they were spraying me with the silly string, the chemical string. And actually, when they sprayed me with the silly string, I was just thinking, oh God, is somebody going to light this on fire, because it's highly flammable. So that also went through my head. Another guy had hit me with a skateboard also in the park. And it was all because they were accusing me of being a Nazi. And the reason that they do this is not only to turn off your voice, because nobody's going to give credit to a person that they perceive as being a Nazi, but it's also a dehumanization strategy. Because when you have it was a group of mostly men, 30 men, and I'm a small petite female, and they did not see me as even human. And this is supposed to be an anti-racist rally that they had promoted it as. Like, this was also the time during the whole Stop Asian Hate stuff that they were also trying to push. And I'm like, even with I was totally against the Stop Asian Hate, not from a obviously you have to stop beating up on Asians and pushing them into subways, but from the notion that it was being used as a movement by BLM the same way that they were using Black people in the BLM movement. They were then using Asians to be orchestrating into this whole narrative thing. But it was during that type of movement, which added on an extra layer of irony. So yeah, it was a horrific experience, but it also strengthened the fact that I did want to go into journalism and found more purpose in the work that I was doing, because I needed to show really what was happening on the ground, and and wake people up that like with the accusation of being a Nazi, and really they were accusing me of being a Nazi because I'm a Trump supporter. Mm-hmm. And that, that's wrong, and something that we've all experienced as conservatives, as Republicans, as Trump supporters. All they're doing is slapping a label on you and trying to discredit you and take your whole livelihood down from there, to the point it justifies physical violence on your body, which is never okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've been saying for a long time that I wish we had like organized to go find where some of these Antifa people live and then protest there in front of their house. But I was saying that years ago.
Yep, I remember. And it did, but
because one of
they would turn it around.
No, because the Republicans are spineless, man. We are, dude. It's really we are, and I'm sick of it. No, it's true. These people will go. They don't have any morals, so they'll do anything. They don't care. There's not a set of rules that they go by. Whereas me, I'll be like, that will bring more karma into my life, like bad karma. So I'm not gonna go there. I won't do that. And then so like a lot of I think like right leaning people tend to be like that, more spiritual probably. A lot of them go to church, things like that.
Oh yeah.
They work full time, they have families. Mm-hmm. And they don't lower themselves to do these horrible things. It's really like good versus evil. Like every single time there's no boundary they won't cross. And they
it's also
even
a realization of that there's more important things in life. So like in America, these are the issues that we're focusing on, when
Mm-hmm.
it's like in the rest of the world, they have to deal with hunger, which, looking into America, we have a huge homeless population here too. We don't take care of our veterans. We are more amenable to people who cross illegally into our countries than taking care of our own veterans and our own homeless population. So in circling back to what you were saying about it within the Republican Party, so I'm still even a registered Democrat, and so being a walk away, I do have my liberal views, but certainly I've culturally and I guess family wise, I'm on the conservative side, but
it's good though that you know how they think, so you can destroy them.
You got to know the minds of your enemy in order to be effective. But I have to say they are far more organized. They're far more organized. So what I see within the Republican factions itself, like even attending various conferences and seeing how we organize here, it's just like there's a lot of infighting, and infighting will always lead to our own demise is one thing. And then they do have actual strategies that have been effective, like with doxing. Like I don't agree with doxing, but it is effective. It shuts down people. It gets them fired and taking away their livelihood. And when people have children that they have to protect and be able to put food on the table, like they're taking this away from them. So it is an effective threat. And that's the same thing that the government was doing with mm-hmm. mandates. It's like if you don't get the vaccine, then you're going to lose your livelihood as well. You don't have the right to a job. Like, excuse me, you do have the right to a life.
I'm sorry for interrupting you. By the way, yes, you do have a right to a life.
It's your God-given right.
Yeah. Oh, what was I going to say? I was going to say about like, they can definitely destroy your life. They can destroy your life on there. They are organized. They do that, and, but some people are a little outside of their grasp, a little bit more. Mm-hmm. I think that everybody is within the grasp, people that are entrepreneurs like myself, mm-hmm. They can still get to your landlord. They can still, make up things about your business. They've done all these things. They've like created fake online stores and said that we made shirts that we didn't make, and like I'm cool with if you're a true scum and they like the masses find out that you're a bad person for real. Like, let's say you're a pedophile or something, or there's something bad they really find out about. But when they organize to take you down at no cost, like no holds bar, like we don't care whatsoever. You haven't even done anything, but we'll make it up.
Yeah.
We'll accuse you of it. We'll create the evidence. And that is what I'm against. That's insane that that's allowed. And then they allow things on Twitter to exist. Like, I don't know who's making, I don't know how many times I've gone to the Twitter thing and I've said, report.
It's like it doesn't even matter.
It doesn't even matter how many times it's been done.
No, because they're protected. They're bought.
Why are they protected? Why? I mean, no, I know.
Yeah.
But, and then I know why. It's all these same people, these loser people. They're working they're in there. They're the ones gatekeeping and allowing it to stay up.
Yeah, I have no doubt that a few of them, either they work there, they're either the moderators themselves, the editors.
I wish Project Veritas would find out like these little scums that are in the crevices of these companies, and who's actually like doing these things and messing with content and stuff. Find out those people, man. It's like being a murderer, being like a mass murderer on the down low, and keeping it to yourself for years. Like being being the strangler, but doing it
digital assassination.
They're
digital assassination. You're
doing it themselves.
Taking you out of the town square.
They're digitally murdering people on the down low. These little sociopaths, and keeping it to themselves.
No, absolutely, and even how it played out in real life.
What would be my solution? I mean, that's I think let's not even. I can't go there. What my solution on this thing? No. I can't even talk about what my solution would be on this.
I hear you. I feel you.
So, but you've been through so much. Let's play another one of your videos here. Check this out.
That is all tear gas, and it is extremely strong. If you look,
this is a repost.
Just
this
now,
isn't my original.
To sort of stand the street
original?
a little bit.
No, this is not original. This is a repost.
Now you can see.
I'm sorry.
Now you can see.
I'm sorry. This guy pulled it. This is a great opportunity to yell at you. Why did you pull that horrible video?
Oh no, that was just a repost because it's funny.
I have to get my anger in order right now. I get my anger in check right now before I even go there.
I didn't want to take credit for that. That one's a repost because it's funny actually, because that's when the guy walks up and he's like holding the can, oh no, that wasn't the can. There was a scene where somebody's holding a can. It's like I have a can, and she's like, "You're not gonna throw that at police, are you?" And he's like, "No, the can is for my family." Because Antifa, they will take things that you can carry and use them as bricks.
Wow.
So in that scenario, that was a CNN reporter with the mostly peaceful protests that been going on in Minneapolis. So that's just some context to that scene that you started pulling. But that was.
I think that's the one where the guy starts cursing too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I said I didn't want that one. Hold on.
The shields over here. Oh, this one's fine, yeah. Who wants an Antifa shield?
Even better than eggs here. Take a peek in there. They usually fill these with feces and throw them at everyone. Yeah, let me dump them out. Alright. Oh yeah, it's pee. It's bubbling.
This is a top piss balloon.
Yeah, so that's what that bag is full of, is piss balloon. There you go. Paint.
Paint. Oh. Look, okay, so they drained the eggs, and then they put paint inside of them.
They're evil motherfuckers.
Plenty of bricks.
You can see
They've got spears.
You can see the spears.
They got bricks.
Yeah.
They got paint eggs. All perfect. And this barrier that they created. Oh my goodness. Set up a little bonfire over there. Bring out the s'mores.
Wow. How much more?
Yeah, this is Portland. Wait, welcome to the gateway to hell.
Wow, that was that's so crazy that's how it is. And this is you like just like a couple days ago or like last week or something like that over in DC?
No, that's not recent. That was in Portland. This video. Yeah, this is a couple of days ago.
Every day for our
Oh my God.
Do not run! Please do not run! There is no issue here! Do not run!
¿Qué le dije yo?
Yeah, that was the March for Our Lives a couple of days ago, and basically there was a scare to the crowd. A man had rushed the stage, and some people heard him say that I have a gun, but evidently he was saying I am God, or I am a god. But the crowd, a couple people at the front had heard I have a gun, and so of course with a mob mentality, it only takes a couple of people to spook that way for then it to trickle into being thousands of people starting to stampede. And when I saw that, I felt like Simba in the gorge in The Lion King when I just see this stampede of people heading in my direction. And so I grabbed my camera and I started to like dodge between, because this is how I know I'm a little bit of a psycho. I was like, I don't know what's causing that, but I'm gonna go film it. But I was concerned that people were going to be stampeded, and my friend was like, "You're not a psycho. You're just a journalist." So the comments, I'll take a moment to address some of the comments I had seen from that. I want people to realize this is a crowd of people who have been traumatized by gun violence. So they've either lost, you have survivors of Parkland, Uvalde. The speakers were the parents from Uvalde, and also like Sandy Hook. And so when people were criticizing the mob for reacting that way, did they react the right way? No, of course. People could have gotten hurt, and it shouldn't spook over. It is concerning if you're going to spook from the concept of a person having a gun. DC, it's against the law, but in general, like I don't see a gun and I spook. But I can understand like people who are traumatized to then react that way. So we're at a point though when it comes to gun violence that for the most part I feel like there is a direct impact to almost everybody. Like for me, I've had one of my friends, my friend's husband's sister died in Sandy Hook, and my cousin was there at the Vegas shooting. So when you're being directly impacted by gun violence, I want to say this to conservatives, to my 2A supporters and out there, and I am a firm believer that you can't take away our guns, otherwise we'll end up having what we see in like the lockdowns could have been so much worse. The government needs to know they can fear the people, and then also it fends off from other invasions. Japan didn't attack mainland America during World War II because we got 400 million guns here, more than the population. Like anybody who wants to attack us is really stupid because we'll take you out. But so I'm not saying that we need to take away our guns, but I'm saying that that conservatives and 2A supporters need to be putting forth policies that are going to address what is going on. And maybe it's not in the form of gun control. It can be in the form of mental health policies, whatever the solution is going to be. But something needs to be put forward that is going to be addressing not only the school shootings, but the mass shootings that we're experiencing. Even if it's a small population of gun violence is because of mass shootings or school shootings, it's still something that is traumatizing Americans. And if you go to the website of March for Our Lives, among the first things that are shown is to vote, to register to vote, Rock the Vote, which is a huge movement when, for those of you guys who used to watch like MTV out there, like that's how the Democrats really organized to be getting people to vote, and the indoctrination that we have, especially in college campuses. So to get people to be liberal, to get them to be voting Democrat, the among the first tabs of March for Our Lives is is rock the vote and a registration form to vote. So if you are, if you're in pain or traumatized by gun violence, you go onto this website, of course you're going to be motivated to be taking action. So they are being very effective. And if Republicans and conservatives and 2A supporters do not put something forward that is going to be addressing the situation or even recognizing that this is an issue, guess what? We are going to lose our right to 2A. We are. And when we're criticizing the crowd for having fear, we have our own fear. Why do the gun sales go up immediately after a mass shooting? Because people fear losing their guns. So that's why they go out and buy them. Do you think a fearful gun owner is going to make for a safe society? I think not, because the whole point is what everybody can agree on is being responsible gun owners. And so the main message is we got to do something, otherwise we will be losing our 2A.
Do you want to take this?
I mean, the main thing with the mental health part of it, I guess, is like I'll put a little out on myself here.
No,
I wasn't diagnosed with mental illness until 23. So from 18 to 23, where I didn't think anything was wrong, it was just normal to have whatever, I could have easily gotten a gun myself, and there would have been no real indication of the mental illness.
What is the main real reason? What is the real reason? I mean, that Tara is trying to figure out.
I mean, honestly,
we talk about it all the time on the show.
I know.
What is it?
Okay, guns are already made, so they can make guns.
It's a spiritual problem.
Well,
it's not freedom of religion. I'm sorry. It's not freedom from religion. It's freedom of religion. Okay. There needs to be religion. There needs to be some form of spiritual, organized. And don't you think that helped you with your mental things?
Well, yeah,
because that's what because the thing is, you're thinking too much. You're too in your brain.
Well, yeah.
You're too in your thoughts, too in your mind, and from a real personal experience how true that is. Now, that's what these people are going through too. They're in their mind. They're listening to the stupidity of society, all the cultural propaganda and idiotic things that they prop you up to believe in and things like that. And, and that drives a person insane. And when you don't have any spirituality also, and they take that out of the schools, you can't even say a prayer at the beginning, you should sit, if they had, that is what Tara, I believe you're trying to figure out what the problem is. That's what it is, and that's not just a kicking the can down the road solution. I believe that is the real solution. I think that the Republicans do represent some kind of spirituality. They do. A lot of them go to church, things like that. So your perception might not be that they're doing something, but actually they are. They actually are. The people that aren't doing it are the Democrats, people that are Satan worshiping pedophile, all those conspiracy things that they say that aren't really true, to a sensible person. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? But so the hole in these people's heart, this lack of anything, believe in nothing and you'll fall for anything, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the spirituality. When that's missing, this is what happens. You go around to those other countries, Tara, do you think that spirituality is gone out of those countries that you travel in?
No, a lot of the countries that I've been to, they still maintain their spirituality. Even, for example, like Vietnam. Vietnam is a communist country. But I would say, like, the people have maintained their spirituality, and that's why they have there's a difference between when I visited Vietnam versus visiting China. In China, the people have no essence to them. Their view towards life is very null and void. Like, you would prefer that if you hit a person in China with a car, that they die as opposed to stay alive, because otherwise then you're going to be burdened with their responsibility of their medical care. So, but that to have that full, mental like thought process and be a thing, and it's because like when they went through the Cultural Revolution and really stripped away the spirituality of people when it comes to religion to making the state truly the religion of the people.
Yes,
and
science.
for abortion, they had a one-child policy, so abortion was, not even not even an issue. You can have an abortion, no problem. But when you have that view towards life, such a minuscule view of it, it translates to everywhere else that's going to be happening. And it's true, if you lack a spiritual core, like anything that happens in your life, in your reality, you will crumble. You'll be so susceptible to the messaging of the devil. Will then push you to be acting in the way that we see these shooters. Like that was nothing but pure evil that came from really the two from Uvalde and Buffalo. They're 18-year-olds. They're children.
I know, it's disgusting. We're on the same page, though. We're definitely on the same page, and I'm happy to have met you and, made another Polish friend.
Yeah.
Because I just recently took a couple Polacks out, kicked them out. So anyway, that's good to replace. But I was looking on Twitter. Let's talk about some bad news here. This is this guy Pierre. I don't know. I'm not French. I don't understand the French. Poilievre. I don't know. It's like Brett Favre, but Poilievre. I don't know. But he says liberal gatekeepers and censors want to control what you see and say online. I won't let them. As Prime Minister, I will introduce a Free Speech Act to defend your charter right to freedom of expression on the internet. And then he has his new video ad, and I wanted to play that. It's really interesting.
Right now, the internet that you're consuming is not connected. We live in a big, open
I guess I didn't
country.
edit this one.
Our democracy should be big and open.
I guess I didn't edit this
too.
one.
But of course, the gatekeepers don't want it that way. That's why they've had the ultimate gatekeeper, Justin Trudeau, introduce Bill C-11, the censorship law. It would allow the CRTC, more gatekeepers, to control what you see and say online. This bureaucracy would be able to manipulate the algorithms that determine what shows up in your Facebook news feed or on your YouTube stream. Basically, all the social media you have would be manipulated by government bureaucrats using secretive criteria to determine what they want you to see. They say that right now the internet that you're consuming is not Canadian enough, and they get to decide what is Canadian for you. I don't know if they mean maple syrup or beaver tails, or just that you have to have a steady stream of left-wing liberal propaganda. Probably the latter. But they're not stopping there. They're also proposing to create something called the Digital Safety Commissioner. If that's not Orwellian, I don't know what is. This individual would be allowed to block what goes on websites. According to the Twitter company, which made a submission to the government on this proposal, this would put Canada in league with countries like China, North Korea, and Iran. Is that the company that you want to keep? Me neither. And that is why I am taking action. A Pierre Poilievre government will repeal the censorship and introduce the Free Speech Act. The Free Speech Act would eliminate the government's ability to control what you see and say on the internet. It would fire this Digital Safety Commissioner so that there's no one entitled to censor your internet. And it would protect the principle embedded in Section 2B of our Charter of Rights and Freedoms. To be or not to be, as Shakespeare would ask. That is the question. Well, my answer is this. I will protect our charter rights to free speech, and I will embed it in law with this new act. I need your support to do it. Let's fight against these censorship laws now and back my efforts to become Prime Minister so that I can pass a Free Speech Act that will put you back in charge of what you see, say, believe, and think. In other words, let's make Canada the freest country in the world where you can take back control of your life.
God bless that guy. Oh, yeah, Pierre Poilievre. He's awesome, man. That's what we need.
Good luck to him. Yeah, like Trudeau, they just passed to take away what, handguns?
Oh my God,
handguns or pistols or something like that. Yeah, I have to go back and look it up. I think I just saw that they passed. Trudeau had introduced or made an announcement that they were pulling back on allowing citizens to be having even simply as handguns, and they were doing it out of kind of a reaction to what happened in Uvalde. And it's like that's not even related because handguns weren't used there. This is not your country, and this, like, but yeah, I mean, when it starts with disarming. It starts with disarming people, because that's how communism ushers into really any country. But if you look back at the Bolshevik Revolution, like my father being a communist refugee, he's like, oh, once they start taking the guns away, that's how communism is going to come in, and corruption. Like, I mean, I think every place is corrupt, but there's varying levels of it, and well, if they start coming for the guns. And they take them away. Yeah, that's another step in the direction of introducing communism.
What do you think? Is well, they already have communism instituted.
Oh, yeah.
They're offshoring
Canada
it.
definitely is.
They're offshoring it and privatizing it. I always get these people. You can't privatize communism. I'm trying to explain it to you, idiots. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're doing. But check this out. What's happening to the cows? Have you seen this? Look at this. Look at this.
Oh my goodness.
Dead cows. It's happening all over the place. Isn't that crazy?
It's like the chickens. They're having chicken fires, random chicken fires that are taking out.
I found that on Twitter. He said, Ian Miles Chong, he said, even thousands more dead in Nebraska. Looks like a meat shortage is coming. In addition to the wheat shortage, you will eat the bugs. You will own nothing. You will be happy. And then Teresa underneath, she said, wait, food poisoning plants, that doesn't count. No, it didn't. They were poisoned, just like all the food processing plants. 10,000 cattle don't drop dead from heat at the same time. The rancher said it wasn't heat. Because that's what they said. They said they all dropped dead because of heat. Heat and humidity never kills 10,000 cows at the same time. Never. This is more of the planned good shortages and food processing plant burning all over USA. A starving person doesn't have time to think about freedom or nothing else but to find food. Rule under chaos is called. And this was the first. This is where I saw it. Extreme heat and humidity killed thousands of cattle in Kansas this week so far. Estimated 10,000 heads of fat cattle dead. Wow. Now, yeah, and you see that. You see the food processing plants. You know, we're in the t-shirt business, and we know that they're manufacturing the shortages of our t-shirts and our blank shirts. They keep them off the coast. They're not allowed to harbor, right, into the port. That's happening. So all of these things,
you see what
it's insane. It's totally manufactured, 100%.
But I see more.
Why are we allowing it?
They're probably going to be blaming this on climate change because that's one of the main points of their agenda. Because they're like, oh look, it's so hot that wildfires are going to be sparking because of this. You're going to have cattle dropping dead, but it is
God.
Like these are even wildfires. They're manufactured.
When are the people just going to go? And I'm sorry. When are the people just going to go like? We know what's going on. We could tell, and it doesn't matter. Like I'm not listening to you anymore, and that's it. It's stopping right now. All the pitchforks come out, and then let them eat cake, and guillotines, things like that. Why is that not happening? I just don't understand. What is going on? And I'm not advocating for any of that, of course.
Even when they're
talking.
Even when, for example, when one of Biden's first executive orders was to be pushing for having having the electric vehicles used for all the government vehicles by a certain date, or year, I'm not exactly sure. But when I see a statement like that, and now with also the huge gas prices, which when you have politicians saying like, oh, just buy a Tesla, it's like, yeah, every average American can afford a $50,000 car. Are you kidding me? Like, how elitist is that? And how not in tune with regular people are you to be reality to be saying something like that? But so when I saw the push for that, you got to ask yourself, okay, where are these cars going to be coming from? They're going to be coming from China. So that's going to make us even more reliant on China as a trading partner. And then in addition to that, like, you know where the batteries come from? The lithium comes from? It comes from Iran. So so Iran has the natural resource for lithium. China has the ability of mining the lithium and packaging it and creating it into batteries. So actually, as we push towards having more electric vehicles, that's actually what's going to be happening. It's going to be strengthening the economies of our enemies, of our competitors. That's what I see whenever I see a policy come through. You have to dive a little bit. You have to dive a little bit deeper to what's the meaning to it. So like seeing a bunch of cattle drop dead. Like, yes, it's common sense that a bunch of cattle are not suddenly going to drop dead from heat stroke all at the same time. And so it is therefore manufactured. They have been poisoned. When you start connecting the dots to the other things that are hitting on the news, like, they were saying how this summer is going to have the record heat. Like, okay, so we have record heat, but they're preparing you like, oh, this makes sense. Like, oh, record heat for the summer. Like, wildfires are going to come about. Like this baby food shortage that we're going on, that they are going to try and starve us. So, I mean, I'm happy. I got my chickens in the backyard. I got 16 of them. And so, I tease my dad. I'm like, if something happens, at least we got the chickens to eat. My dad's like, I will not eat my pets, but we do have a garden and everything. So because like even in my family, we try to stay healthy and organic, and to, make our own food. So not everybody, lives with a backyard and everything. But if you're able to grow at least a couple of things that are on your own, I think it's worth it in terms of like maintaining your health, because like all these processing plants and everything, it's so chemical.
Yes, it is. Oh yeah, I know. Oh my God. Other countries have some of the greatest food ever, God.
Even McDonald's tastes better in the Philippines. Actually, yeah. I remember thinking that as a kid. I was like, the meat tastes better when I was in the Philippines, because it's not as processed. Everything is so processed when it comes to here. And like another interesting, like in relation to health, they're saying that a lot of people are going to be experiencing like kidney failure. One of my best friends and my co-host of my channel actually he just got discharged yesterday, but he faced emergency dialysis and is going to be on a dialysis machine now until he can get a kidney transplant. But he had kidney failure and he's 38. What? So it's happening. Like if I'm seeing this, and that
the V is killing.
He didn't have that. He actually, even when I was in the ER with him, he asked them for unvaccinated blood when they told him he's going to have a blood transfusion, and he had 4 this week. He goes, "Can you make sure it's unvaccinated? Because I don't want that shit inside of me."
Oh my God. Can you do that though? Can they do that? What did they say?
It's not.
What did they say?
The doctor was really funny. She had a very straight face and she's like, that's not how it works. And I'm like, I'm looking at my friend, like, you're down to a third amount of blood you need to live. And so when they say you're a walking miracle, that means like, how are you not dead? So in my mind, I was like, damn it, just take the blood. But yeah, he actually did ask them for unvaccinated blood.
No, I would want that too. I would want that too.
The doctor said like that's not, she just stated what they do like filter for miscellaneous like blood diseases and whatnot. But I don't think that when they do blood transfusions, that's something that they look for. So for those who know, when you need a blood transfusion, it is what it is.
I mean, yeah, they give you AIDS. I mean, obviously they'll give you the V.
I mean, probably.
So,
I mean, they do filter for HIV, so that's one of the things she did say.
I know, but I'm just saying they have. So they have a filter. They do a filter? No.
Not filter. What I say is that it's tested. Blood. Any kind of blood donations are always tested for various things. One being also HIV. But no, like they don't. Discern between vaccinated and unvaccinated. But the way she explained it is that it would come down to the what is it called? The antibodies. It wouldn't be the vaccine that'd be inside of the blood. It would be the antibodies that are generated as a response to the vaccine. So so if you get blood from you don't know where the blood in a sense like comes from, but is it possible that you have a blood donation from somebody who was even a COVID survivor, so that blood contains antibodies, so a person who's gotten the vaccine, their blood would be generating antibodies in response to being vaccinated or as a response to having COVID, and that's what is a potential of a person who's a recipient of a transfusion could possibly get.
Mm-hmm. Let's play. This is the last piece of bad news. Then we're going to go into good news, and we'll do it really quick. And if you want to hang out with us, it's like 10 minutes or so, and we'll do the good news, right? But there's a violent hate organization apparently that keeps on storming libraries. Check this out. Look at this.
Area, the Alameda County Sheriff's Office investigating an alleged hate crime in San Lorenzo over the weekend at the San Lorenzo Library. KTVU's Alyssa Harrington tells us what happened when a group of men stormed into an event called the Drag Queen Story Hour.
Video posted online shows a group who investigators say may be linked to the far-right Proud Boys organization inside the San Lorenzo Public Library. The library was hosting a Drag Queen Story Hour Saturday, part of their Pride Month events, when several protesters showed up. Cindy Chadwick, the county librarian, was there.
They began insulting and otherwise verbally abusing our performer.
The performer was Panda Dolce, seen in this picture reading at an event at the San Francisco MoMA. In a series of tweets, she described what happened. She wrote they yelled and called her names, including a pedophile and an it. She said it totally freaked out all of the kids. They got right in our faces. They jeered.
It was all in front of the children, and it frightened them. I've been in libraries for over 20 years, and I've never seen anything with this kind of vitriol and hate.
Librarians called the sheriff's office. Deputies arrived and escorted the group out. The Alameda County Sheriff's Office is now investigating this incident as a hate crime. In a news release, Lieutenant Ray Kelly wrote, ACSO will dedicate all resources to ensure the safety of members of our LGBTQ community. We will make sure any future events at the library are safe against hate speech and threats of violence. Chadwick said they will continue to have Pride events at the library, including author panels, and there's a book display at the entrance. Supporters also showed up at the library with signs of support.
We had parents and children there who wanted to come to this event and chose to be there, and to have people come in and try to intimidate those folks and us from doing a program like this was just beyond the pale for me.
Alyssa Harrington, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right, Alyssa, thank you. Congressman Eric Swalwell, who represents that district, said he was flying to Washington when he heard about it. And in a statement, Swalwell says we must reject this hate and extremism whenever it shows itself, which is why I'll be returning home this Thursday to meet with law enforcement and the community.
Oh my God. Like, honestly, okay, let's look at this like with a sober perspective. What is the point? Okay. Are they drag queens who are authors? Are they authors too? Are they reading their own book? Were they reading their own book that they're an author of?
Oh, no. No, probably not.
No? I don't understand. What's the point? What are they trying to achieve by doing this? What's the point of
it's trying to it's trying to normalize kink. And this is adult stuff, so to normalize it to children, that is called grooming, and grooming is against the law.
Yeah. Yeah. When I went to Catholic school my whole life, and I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think that a lot of people probably had the same, in my age category, who went to public school, probably have the same experience, but I do not remember or recall at all what any of my teachers' sexual proclivities were at all. I had now when I think back on it, I'm like, oh, that guy was probably,
Oh, yeah. I had, same with me.
But I don't know for sure. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. We were, it didn't come up.
The private lives of our teachers is really no business of the children. And so, and especially when it comes to things about teachings about sexuality, That's the responsibility of the parents. I remember when I was in grade school, in 4th grade, the parents had to sign a release form that we can watch a video about like for a girl, we had to watch, the female body of the changes you're going to go through puberty. And then in 5th grade, we watched the boys video. So like the reverse of it. And you had to have a parent sign, or your parental guardian sign a release form for you to be able to watch this video. And that was like the introduction of puberty or anything that was related to sexual biology, but it was straight up biology. It didn't have to had anything to relate to LGBT or any of that. And when it comes to the teaching or introducing that kind of stuff, that's up to parents, and that just shows how like when this is being taught in public schools, like how schools are taking on the responsibilities that are supposed to be of the parent. And so in which case, like, yes, it's going to be susceptible to indoctrination. It's going to be like, to me, this is full out like grooming, and it's not appropriate. Like how things have changed so much it's bewildering to me.
It is.
And we're not going in the right direction about it. We're not like you should not be normalizing when people want to make decisions for themselves as adults. By all means, when you're able to harbor and understand consequences, that's the point that you can truly make a decision about what is going to be right or wrong for you, because you understand you'll understand the consequences that will follow with whatever decision you make. Children are not capable of making these type of decisions. And so when you're normalizing it, like they want to disguise this as a means of like, oh, we're trying to like alleviate the hate. I'm like, hate doesn't come about from showing this is not going to alleviate like hate that comes through. It's going to be telling people like, oh, this is normal and accepted like behavior. There's a reason why it's divergent. It's it's kink and everything, and it's adult. Children should not be at bars giving dollar bills to drag queens who are shaking their booties in front of them. That's not appropriate by any means, and kids should not think that is normal. And so I do feel for like our this generation of children, like when we have such a high divorce rate, like to think that it's normal for parents not to be together, to be divorced, like we shouldn't be changing the standards of society if we cannot meet those standards. We should be always striving to be the best. And that's the beautiful part about being human. We are fallible, but we are capable of forgiveness and of continuously striving to do better. But just because groups of people do not want to do better doesn't mean that we lower the standards of society into participation trophies.
Oh my God, you really hit it on the point. I love how you said forgiveness, because this ties in to the good news. Woo! Good news. Good news, because let's talk good news, because it actually ties into all this stuff that we've been covering. All of the different protests that Tara covers, all this bad news that we just covered, it all ties into the same thing. And she actually hit the nail right on the head when she was talking about forgiveness, because in Mass today, what we talked about was, and Tara, I'm not sure, do you have any spirituality, by the way? Like
I'm raised Catholic, and really, there were honestly periods in my life that I thought myself as atheist, and I've circled full back. And my beliefs are, as I've been going through these movements and seeing reality more and more in my face, my faith has become stronger and stronger. And I try to nurture as much spiritual strength as I can, because it's what enables me to be able to handle the emotions that happen when you're at these places and events.
Mm-hmm. And what I believe is, actually, are you familiar with Jesse Lee Peterson?
Yes.
So Jesse Lee Peterson helped me out. He actually opened my eyes to a lot of this. I was raised Catholic, grew up Catholic. However, I didn't take it really seriously. It was just a thing that I had to go through or whatever. I went to Catholic school and I was subjected to. Mm-hmm. But when it really came about, and I learned what Jesse's trying to basically, just in a nutshell, what he does, and he won't even say that he does this. He's going to deny it until the cows come home. Okay. And it'll be those dead cows.
But they're already dead.
He'll never deny it. I mean, he'll never admit it. He's what he pushes is meditation. He's a guru. He teaches meditation through Christianity. He teaches this thing called the silent prayer. Okay. And all it is if you put on Ram Dass or you put on Alan Watts or any of these old school guru people, it's essentially the same thing. They even mention Christ. They even mention Bible verses. And all this, it's similar, very, very funny is a lot of similar Bible verses that he says are in some of those secular, gurus' teachings. It's crazy, right? So
absolutely.
What I learned was, I was like, okay, yeah, you know what? It makes this is what I had the epiphany of, is that meditation and spirituality go together. And if you have meditation without spirituality, it doesn't work. Because it's fruitless. You're just doing it for this secular, stupid reason. And they walk around with, like the guy says, amnesia, right? Basically amnesia brain. You're just shutting off all your emotions so you can be a sociopath, basically, Whereas if you use spirituality, and if you don't really put yourself in that meditation state, I think that if you're just going blah, 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 and you're being crazy and you're saying whatever, like a mental case, that's not really getting to God. The truth is you need your heart to speak to God. So it's like, it's the, what's the communication not working? What did I say? I had this written down, didn't I? Or something. It is, shoot, probably won't be able to find it now.
But absolutely, I agree with you with spirituality and meditation going hand in hand, because you have to nurture strength of spirit and strength of soul, because there's so many tragedies that happen in life and things that can happen that you will fall apart if you do not have God, whatever you deem God to be in your life. If you do not have that, when you're faced with the realities of things that will happen, you will fall apart. And so, and even when it comes to like meditation, like people who don't necessarily believe in it as a form of like a faith system, they're like it actually rewires your brain. It creates more gray matter in your head, which is like you can see this when you look at whatever those brain scans are, the impacts that has to your brain. And so the way that when you're doing certain chants are able to set your mind to being silent, which is extremely difficult. Like mastering meditation, I feel, is among the it's a huge challenge. It's very difficult, especially living in such a noisy and busy world that's stimulated by social media and other things that are flashing in our face. It's very difficult to shut the brain off and to just to achieve peace. And so when you're able to effectively meditate, like the effects that has on the rest of your body, because down to a cellular level, because if you are stressed, your cells become, they crumble themselves. So the parallels that we have when I'm saying about like you will crumble in the face of tragedy and reality if you don't have that spiritualness, it's something that actually happens down to a cellular level of how your body is going to be reacting to stress. So I definitely encourage everybody to look into meditation. Even when my friend has been in the hospital this week, when he would have moments that he became severely stressed and would reach out to me, I would send him meditation videos to try and calm his mind down.
Wow. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And what I learned was that Catholicism, if you want to, okay, so it is very difficult to meditate, right? And that's what kind of like Jesse teaches. But if you get tricked into it, what I learned is through Catholicism, if you do it right. Because where else, you meditate every day, right? You're supposed to meditate every day.
Correct.
What other, and I'm not pushing this, by the way, I believe that all religions are a spiritual language to God. Okay. And it doesn't even matter. I believe all of them are. They're just languages. And in all the different denominations of Christian, look like people see if you're, people see that.
Okay.
I'm telling you,
I know.
All right. Anyway, so meditate. I missed this before. Meditation without spirituality is fruitless. Spirituality without meditation is inarticulate. I don't think that the message is really getting to God. You have to like shut off your brain and let your heart be there and be open, And I found that through the Catholic faith. And that all it is just a spiritual language, and that I realized I know because I was subjected to it my whole life. And going back to it after all these years, and another point is what other Christian faith has a mass every single morning, a service every morning. Every morning. I can go every single day. You meditate every day. You can go to mass every day. You get that same meditation from the mass.
You can.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, yeah, you can. It's another form of what you can do, and it's there and it's available to you, and it's a tool. You go there, you get the peace. They talk about peace. The whole message of the whole thing is peace. Yeah. Peace be with 100%. You.
I always felt like going to mass or attending church services is very similar to like when you go to the gym. Like, could you work out at home? 100%. But if you're put into an environment where you have other people who are also doing the same thing, working towards the same goals, like it's easier. So exactly. it's easier when you're able to take on the energies of other people who are also motivated to working towards the same thing. And that's the importance about like being able to assemble into church. So when they were doing lockdowns and shutting down church, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like that, mm-hmm. like that. Oh also,
yeah, that was another part of the manufacturer. That was part of the manufacturing.
Yeah,
of all this stuff.
They're trying to take away all of the tools that are necessary for people to actually be healthy. When you're shutting down gyms, when you're shutting down churches and everything, everything that people need to live healthy lives, from physical fitness to mental and spiritual fitness, all of those areas are being shut down, and when you're just left to your own self in a quiet quarantine, like we're going to see a lot of issues. We're going to see a lot of things unfolding from what has happened in the last 2 years of shutdowns and people being locked up.
Yeah, we will.
Yep. I mean, they're pushing everything this way. Their narratives.
They've done a lot of work.
Yeah, and it's different then, because when you look at there always have been trials and tragedies that have faced humankind, like World War II. But the people that came out of World War II, like, yes, you'll have soldiers who have PTSD, but like society as a whole, you didn't have the levels of emotional disruption that we're starting to see now. And I think it's good that people are going and having, like I felt like mental health. When I used to compete in the Miss America system, my platform was for mental health awareness. And so it's good that people, I feel it's becoming in a sense less taboo for people to be seeking the help that they need, because you need to keep yourself also mentally fit and just as much as you need to keep yourself physically fit. But we're going to be dealing with a different type of issues from this upcoming generation of, especially, like an 18-year-olds, last 2 years that they've been in lockdowns, it's the period that they're supposed to be socializing and really connecting with people in the world, to be left to their own. I have huge concerns about what we're going to be seeing for unfolding in the next times.
Well, that's all bad news. Let's stay with the good news. Let's
sorry.
It's so true. But you could only do the logic so far, and then the faith has to take over. The faith takes over. And so what we talked about today in Mass, we talked about, it's the Thursday, the 11th week in Ordinary Time, and teaching us to pray. That's right. Jesus actually taught us to pray. He did it in the Bible. Okay. He says, do not babble like pagans who think they will be heard because of their many words. God listens to us when we pray because we belong to him. That is why the Lord teaches us to pray, our Father. Through our obedience to this command, we discover how much of the heart of the Father is turned toward his sons and daughters. And so the first reading was the reading of, and I thought that this was interesting, SIRACH. It's like, what is it, Sriracha?
I don't know.
It's spelled like Sriracha almost. And I was thinking, did Genghis Khan write this? Is it the book of Sriracha by Genghis Khan? SIRACH. So it's a reading from the book of SIRACH. Okay. And it is chapter 48, 1 through 14. They have some books that I don't even remember, really. It's so crazy. Like a fire, there appeared the prophet Elijah, whose words were as a flaming furnace. Their staff of bread he shattered. In his zeal, he reduced them to straits. By the Lord's word, he shut up to the heavens and 3 times brought down fire. How awesome are you, Elijah, in your wondrous deeds? Whose glory is equal to yours? You brought a dead man back to life from the netherworld by the will of the Lord. You sent kings down to destruction and easily broke their power into pieces. You brought down nobles from their beds of sickness. You heard threats at Sinai, at Horeb, avenging judgments. You anointed kings who should inflict vengeance and a prophet as your successor. You were taken aloft in a whirlwind of fire and a chariot with fiery horses. That was yesterday. You are destined, it is written, in time to come to put an end to wrath before the day of the Lord, to turn back the hearts of fathers toward their sons, and to reestablish the tribes of Jacob. Blessed is he who shall be seen you, and who falls asleep in your friendship. For we live only in your life, but after death our name will not be such. O Elijah, enveloped in the whirlwind. Then Elisha, and that, oh, by the way, Khan, that's not a girl. That's I was totally wrong about this passage. That was one of his other, like, I don't know. Elijah was like a prophet in the Old Testament. Okay.
Yeah.
And that was like one of his people, his apostles, I guess, or whatever people.
Okay.
And this Elisha guy, Elisha, and filled with the twofold portion of his spirit, wrought many marvels by his mere word. During his lifetime, he feared no one, nor was any man able to intimidate his will. Nothing was beyond his power. Beneath him, flesh was brought back into life. In life, he performed wonders, and after death, marvelous deeds. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. So the main point of that was Elijah was enveloped in a whirlwind, and Elisha was filled with twofold portion of the spirit, of his spirit. See, okay. Old Testament stuff is so crazy. We talk about it all the time on here. It's very difficult to interpret. I mean, the interpretation can go all kinds of different ways. I mean, when I see yesterday, remember like the fiery, Elijah went up in like a fiery chariot or whatever with horses. Do you remember that? No?
Yeah. I mean, I have my own theory on that.
That's alien stuff, man.
Yeah.
That's an alien craft that you know.
That the only, think of it, look at it back in those times.
Mhm.
They didn't have the word, or I'm assuming right now, I guess, they didn't have a word like spacecraft.
Yeah.
Or unidentified flying object.
Yes.
What did they have? But in a real sense,
A
what did
flying
they have?
chariot, a fiery flying chariot. That sounds like
A rocket.
That sounds like it to me, though.
It sounds like a rocket because think of it, a fiery chariot.
Yeah.
A chariot meaning a mode of transportation.
And they came down here and they planted their molecular things into us, right?
Well, I believe they experimented with all the missing links, hence why we have so many. Because
You
I
were
believe
you
they're
were
the
the
hybrid.
you were the missing link. You're a hybrid. Definitely. Oh my God. Anyway.
Oh, I'm the hybrid.
Yes. Okay, so let's talk Matthew, because this is the cool thing of the day. This is what I really had the takeaway, the main takeaway of the show and stuff. Well, other than Tara being here, is this, and because this is how we are to pray. That's the main purpose, and it comes right out of the Bible, which is so cool. From the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verses 17 through 15. Jesus said to his disciples, "In praying, do not babble like the pagans, who think that they will be heard because of their many words. Do not be like them. Your Father knows what you need before you ask him. This is how you're to pray. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. If you forgive others their transgressions, your heavenly Father will forgive you. But if you do not forgive others, neither will your Father forgive your transgressions." The gospel of the Lord. Thanks be to God. And so, isn't that cool? He actually lays it all out. And also the priest today, he was talking about some of the words. He said, give us this day our daily bread. That's why it's good to go to Mass every day, because you actually get the Eucharist. And that's what they're talking about. They're talking about the holy bread. This, he was talking about the exact words, like from the Greek or whatever, and how it like super holy like bread. So they're like talking about the Eucharist in there. And he's telling you right now what to do. And Tara, she said it right before we started the good news. She was talking about forgiveness. And that's the whole point of everything is. And so these little scums, these stupidity people, leftists, they're worthy of our forgiveness. So let's just say a prayer for them right now in the name of Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Dear Lord Jesus, please go into the hearts of all these stupidity people, leftist scum, please, and show them the error of their ways. Let them see the mirror right before their eyes of what they are, and so that they could change themselves for the better. Give them self-awareness, give them soul awareness, Lord, please. And also, we also pray for all our J6 brothers who are locked in, prison,
and sisters,
political prison. Amen. In the name of Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So anyway, last meditation, we do this final meditation of the day. It is, let me read this. So this is called the Lord's Prayer. That's the title of the meditation. And it's by this lady, Raissa Maritain from Russia. She was a convert to Catholicism and the wife of philosopher Genghis Maritain. I think we've read some of his stuff before.
The name sounds familiar.
The meditation of the day, the Lord's Prayer. So after beseeching God for his glory, we beseech him for us sinners. When the petitions of the Lord's Prayer turn to man, it is to sinners that they turn. I have not come to call the just, but the sinners, and who indeed recognize themselves to be sinners better than the saints themselves. If we say that we have not sinned, says St. John, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. The Lord's Prayer instructs, and while instructing us, it puts ointment on our words. If there are some among us who think themselves perfect, they will be cured of their presumption. If there are some who would like to be saints and grieve because they are not, they will be cured of their sadness. If there are some who are plunged in evil and darkness, they will begin to have hope. What then do sinners need? To live, first of all, like the grass of the field, and like those sparrows, no one of which falls to the ground without God's consent, and to live as men and women redeemed. And what they need after this is pardon, the remission of sins. These are the two things they fundamentally need. But still another thing is necessary for them. For even pardon, they are still in danger because of weakness. They have need for God himself to come to help them because of their weakness. Our daily bread, in one sense, it is a question of material bread and of bodily food. We ask for that which we will need in order to subsist. Jesus has pity on our poor flesh. In another sense, it is a question of the bread, which is the food of the Spirit, the truth and beauty of which every human soul has need, and above all the word of God. Not by bread alone shall men live, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God. We should always be hungry for every word that comes from the mouth of God. In the spiritual and mystical sense, it is a question of the bread that is Jesus himself. I am the bread of life. I am the bread come down from heaven. If anyone eats of this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread which I will give is my flesh for the life of the world. One can scarcely see how this could mean anything other than Eucharistic bread. Interesting. Any final thoughts, guys?
Be one with Jesus.
What's your takeaway, Tara, on all this? On the good news.
I think the It's interesting when I've said the Lord's Prayer 100 times and didn't even 100 times, 100 million times, but didn't even link the concept of the Eucharist to the Holy Bread, and that's true because like the act of receiving communion daily and everything, because like there's steps that you need to take that are precedents to being able to take it, because you have to be in a state of holiness. So that means going to confession and keeping keeping your soul clear. And so I don't try to just be like too doom and gloom. It's just with the past several weeks seeing a lot and everything. It's you don't get to decide when you live or die. That's everything, and everything good or bad all happens in God's time. So you need to keep your soul in a state of constant readiness for whatever life is going to be unfolding in front of you. And so, like going to the gym to maintain physical fitness, meditating and harboring that spiritual strength is very important.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being on today. I really appreciate you giving your time, and especially after, getting off the road and things.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Robert, for having me on the show.
Of course. Yay. So we're gonna go today. Thank you so much for joining us, poopies. And please, pray for us. Pray for our souls, because we are gonna pray for you. Yep. All right. And we pray for Tara Szczepanski as well. And hope for her to, reach the heights that she strives to reach, and isn't encumbered by any Antifa scums. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. And it's been an outstanding time. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And vaya con Dios. Vaya con Dios, go with God, right?
FATENZO.com.